My new wife, Allison, texted me at 7 that morning, "You're not coming to graduation. My daughter wants a real dad." I stared at the message at the kitchen table, where I had arranged flowers and wrapped Lily's gift. I had been married to Allison for 11 months, but I had spent 3 years helping raise her daughter. Lily had once called me dad when she was frightened, and I thought we were family. Now Allison had decided I belonged outside the most important day of Lily's life. I didn't argue. I simply looked around the house and realized something inside me had changed. At 8, I called Allison once. She didn't answer. I sent a simple message asking whether Lily had personally said she didn't want me there. Allison replied, "She wants her biological father beside her. Please respect that." Her words hurt more than I expected. Lily's father, Marcus, had been absent for years and rarely contacted her. I had attended school meetings, helped with homework, and stayed awake during fevers. I had never demanded that Lily call me dad. I only wanted to be there for her. Apparently, that wasn't enough. I opened my laptop and contacted my realtor that morning. The house belonged to me before our marriage. I bought it years earlier, and Allison moved in after our wedding. Because the property remained legally separate, selling it was possible, although complicated. My realtor arrived before 10. I told him I wanted an immediate sale, even if accepting a lower offer meant closing quickly. He looked surprised but didn't question me. By noon, a buyer had made an offer. I signed the preliminary documents and arranged a temporary place elsewhere. I packed only my clothes, important papers, photographs, and the watch my father had left me. Everything else could stay. Before leaving, I walked through Lily's room. Her science project was still on the desk, and a framed photograph of us stood beside her books. I nearly broke down. I wasn't angry with Lily. She was a child caught between adults and complicated loyalties. I left a sealed envelope containing her graduation gift and a note saying I was proud of her. I didn't blame her or mention Allison's message. Then I placed my ring on the kitchen counter beside a short letter for Allison. I wrote that I couldn't remain where love was conditional on whether I was useful. I left town that afternoon and drove several hours north alone. My phone filled with missed calls. Allison finally called and demanded to know where I was. I told her I was safe and the house had been sold already. She went completely silent. Then she accused me of being childish and said I couldn't sell our home without warning her. I reminded her that the house had always been my separate property. She shouted that Lily would be devastated when she learned I had abandoned them all. I replied that I hadn't abandoned Lily. I had respected their decision. The graduation ceremony ended around noon. Lily walked across the stage wearing her blue cap and smiled toward the audience. Marcus was sitting beside Allison, exactly where she had wanted him. But Lily kept looking toward the empty seat where I had promised to sit. Afterward, Allison told her I had become upset and left town. Lily stared at her mother and asked, "Why would he leave?" Allison couldn't answer. Then Lily remembered the envelope I had left with her graduation gift. She opened it and read my note. Inside was a photograph of us at her first school recital. That evening, Lily confronted Allison. She asked why she had told me not to attend. Allison admitted she wanted Marcus to have the moment because Lily needed her biological father. Lily began crying and said, "I needed both of them." She told Allison that I had never tried to replace Marcus. I had simply been there when Marcus wasn't. Allison finally realized that her decision had been made without asking the one person whose feelings mattered most. Meanwhile, I had checked into a small hotel in another city. I had no intention of returning immediately, regardless of what happened. The next morning, Lily called. I almost didn't answer because I was afraid of making her situation harder. She apologized for what had happened, even though none of it was her fault. I told her she had nothing to apologize for and congratulated her again. She asked whether I hated her. I told her I could never hate her. Then she asked whether I was coming back. I said I didn't know. I explained that adults sometimes make decisions requiring distance before forgiveness becomes possible. Lily cried and said she wanted me in her life. I promised that wouldn't change. A week later, Allison came to see me. She had driven 6 hours alone. She looked exhausted, carrying the wedding album under her arm. She apologized for treating me like a temporary husband, for making a decision about Lily without asking her, and for believing she knew what Lily wanted. She said Marcus admitted he couldn't suddenly become the father Lily imagined after years of absence. Allison asked me to come home. I told her the house was gone, and our old marriage was gone too. If we ever rebuilt anything, it would have to start from honesty, not guilt. She nodded through tears. Months later, I rented a small house near Lily's school. Allison and I were separated, but I remained part of Lily's life with clear boundaries. Lily visited me on weekends and kept her graduation photograph on my desk. Allison eventually understood that selling the house hadn't been revenge. It had been my way of refusing to remain somewhere I was treated as optional. When Allison told me I wasn't welcome at graduation, she thought she was protecting her daughter's wishes. Instead, she taught both of us a painful lesson. Family isn't defined only by biology. Family is defined by who stays.